Welcome back. Tonight, you can simply relax, slow down, and let your mind rest. This is a quiet space for calm science, peaceful facts, and gentle background listening. So settle in comfortably, take a soft breath, and let the slow rhythm of tonight's journey carry you peacefully into deep rest and sleep. Tonight, we settle into a slow and quiet journey through the peaceful world of gorillas. There is nothing to follow closely, nothing to solve, and nowhere to rush. Only calm science, gentle details, and soft natural rhythms moving at an easy pace through the night. A gorilla's heartbeat can become surprisingly calm while resting in a safe group. In quiet moments, large silverback gorillas may sit almost perfectly still, conserving energy with a patience that seems timeless. Even animals weighing hundreds of pounds often spend long stretches doing very little at all. The forests where gorillas live are filled with layered sounds. Leaves move softly in warm air. Water drifts through roots and stones. Insects hum in distant patterns. Gorillas move through these environments slowly, carefully, and with little wasted effort. Their days often follow the steady rhythm of feeding, resting, grooming, and sleeping. There are no sudden changes in pace for long periods of time. Much of their world is built around calm repetition. As the night continues, these gentle facts about gorillas can simply drift by like slow clouds. Some details come from mountain forests wrapped in mist. Others come from warm lowland rainforests where filtered sunlight reaches the ground in scattered patches. Across these different environments, gorillas maintain many of the same peaceful habits that have helped them survive for millions of years. Gorillas belong to the great ape family, along with chimpanzees, orangutans, bonobos, and humans. Their hands are remarkably similar to human hands, with broad palms and individual fingerprints. Every gorilla has fingerprints that are completely unique. Even among huge groups of animals across different forests, no two sets are exactly alike. A gorilla's hands are built for strength, but also for careful movement. They can pull apart stems, hold delicate fruit, or gently groom another gorilla's fur for long periods without hurry. Grooming is one of the calmest parts of gorilla social life. One gorilla may quietly sit beside another, slowly cleaning leaves, dirt, or insects from thick dark fur. These moments can continue for a very long time without interruption. Most gorillas spend much of the day eating plants. Leaves, stems, shoots, roots, bark, and fruit make up large portions of their diet. Because plant material contains less concentrated energy than meat, gorillas must spend many hours feeding. Yet even feeding is slow and relaxed. They move steadily from plant to plant, selecting food with surprising precision. Mountain gorillas often eat enormous quantities of vegetation every single day. Some may consume more than 30 kilograms of plant material within 24 hours. Even so, they remain calm and unhurried while feeding. Their large stomachs and long digestive systems help break down fibrous plants over time. The digestive process inside a gorilla is slow and efficient. Specialized bacteria inside the intestines help turn tough plant fibers into usable nutrients. This quiet internal ecosystem allows gorillas to survive on foods that many animals could not digest well at all. Despite their great strength, gorillas are usually gentle with members of their own groups. Young gorillas climb over resting adults. Mothers carry infants carefully against their bodies. Older juveniles often tumble and play together in soft patches of vegetation while nearby adults remain peaceful and relaxed. Baby gorillas are very small compared to adult silverbacks. At birth, many weigh only around 4 pounds. Their tiny fingers immediately cling to their mother's fur. During the first months of life, infant gorillas stay almost constantly in contact with their mothers, carried safely as the group moves through the forest. A mother gorilla pays close attention to her infant's movements and sounds. She may adjust her position carefully while resting so the infant remains comfortable. Young gorillas sleep beside their mothers every night inside nests made from branches and leaves. Gorillas build new nests nearly every evening. Some nests are made on the ground, while others are built above the forest floor among sturdy branches. The process is simple but skillful. A gorilla bends stems inward, folds leaves into soft layers, and creates a circular resting place shaped gently around the body. Fresh gorilla nests often still smell faintly of crushed vegetation and damp leaves long after the group has moved away. In some forests, researchers can quietly follow signs of nests to understand where gorillas traveled the previous night. Adult male gorillas are called silverbacks because of the silver-gray hair that develops across their backs as they mature. This change usually appears gradually with age. A fully mature silverback may lead a family group for many years with calm authority rather than constant aggression. Silverbacks spend much of their time watching quietly. They observe sounds in the forest, monitor the movements of younger gorillas, and maintain stability inside the group. Many situations are resolved with posture and presence alone, without fighting. Although gorillas are incredibly strong, physical conflict inside stable groups is relatively rare. Peaceful communication often prevents problems before they grow larger. Gorillas use body posture, facial expression, breathing sounds, and soft vocalizations to communicate mood and intention. One common gorilla sound is a low rumbling vocalization, sometimes called a belch vocalization. It is often used during relaxed social interactions. These quiet sounds can reassure nearby group members and maintain gentle contact while feeding or resting. In mountain forests, cool mist sometimes settles across the vegetation during early morning hours. Gorillas may remain still inside their nests until sunlight slowly warms the air. The dark fur of mountain gorillas helps provide insulation against colder temperatures found at higher elevations. A mountain gorilla's fur is thicker than the fur of many lowland gorillas. This adaptation helps conserve heat in cooler environments near volcanic mountains and cloud forests. Thick fur also gathers tiny droplets of moisture from fog drifting through the trees. Western lowland gorillas often live in warmer rainforests where fruit becomes an important part of the diet during certain seasons. These gorillas may travel longer distances searching for fruiting trees hidden throughout dense forests. Fruit availability changes over time. Some months provide abundant soft fruit, while other periods require heavier feeding on leaves and stems. Gorillas adjust naturally to these cycles with patience and flexibility. When gorillas walk, they usually move using knuckle walking. Instead of placing palms flat on the ground, they support their weight on the knuckles of their hands. This movement protects long fingers while allowing strong and stable travel across uneven terrain. Even large silverbacks can move quietly through forests. Their steps are often surprisingly soft. Thick vegetation absorbs sound, and experienced gorillas navigate around obstacles with efficient movements developed over many years. Young gorillas spend a great deal of time playing. Play helps strengthen muscles, improve coordination, and develop social bonds. Juveniles may gently wrestle, chase one another around tree trunks, or swing from low branches while adults continue resting nearby. Sometimes a young gorilla becomes temporarily fascinated by a simple object like a vine, a leaf, or flowing water. Curiosity appears naturally throughout gorilla life, especially among younger animals learning about their surroundings. Gorillas have dark brown eyes that reflect light softly beneath heavy brows. Eye contact between gorillas can carry meaning, though long direct staring between unfamiliar individuals may sometimes be interpreted as tension. Within close family groups, however, eye contact can remain relaxed and calm. Many gorilla groups contain several females, their offspring, and one dominant silverback. Some larger groups may include additional males as well. Group structures change gradually over time as younger gorillas mature and older individuals age. A gorilla's day usually begins slowly after sunrise. Feeding often starts in the early morning, followed by periods of rest during midday heat. Additional feeding may continue later in the afternoon before evening nests are prepared. Resting occupies a large portion of gorilla life. During rest periods, gorillas may sit quietly for long stretches with half-closed eyes. Others lie against tree trunks or recline in thick vegetation while nearby group members remain peacefully scattered around them. Scientists studying gorillas must often move slowly and quietly to avoid disturbing natural behavior. Researchers sometimes spend years gradually gaining the trust of particular gorilla groups through careful observation and calm presence. Habituation is the process through which wild gorillas slowly become accustomed to researchers nearby. This process takes patience and respect. Researchers avoid sudden movements and maintain predictable behavior over long periods of time. Because gorillas share a large percentage of DNA with humans, studying them provides insight into primate evolution, social behavior, communication, and intelligence. Yet gorillas remain distinctly adapted to forest life in ways shaped by entirely different environmental pressures. A gorilla's nose contains a unique pattern of wrinkles around the nostrils. Scientists can identify individual gorillas by these nose prints much like humans identify fingerprints. Photographs of nose patterns help researchers track specific animals over many years. The forests where gorillas live are deeply connected ecosystems. Gorillas spread seeds through their droppings as they travel. Many plant species depend partly on large animals like gorillas for seed dispersal across wide forest areas. As seeds pass through the digestive system, some may later grow into entirely new plants far from the parent tree. In this quiet way, gorillas help shape the future structure of forests simply by feeding and moving naturally through their environment. Rainforest air often carries moisture heavy enough to form mist around distant trees. Gorillas sometimes disappear almost silently into these pale layers of fog. Dark fur fades gradually into gray air until only movement in leaves remains visible. Infant gorillas learn constantly through observation. They watch adults choose foods, build nests, groom companions, and respond to sounds in the forest. Much learning happens silently over time without direct instruction. Young gorillas sometimes nap during the day while pressed against their mothers or resting in soft vegetation. Their breathing slows gently, and nearby adults continue feeding or grooming without disturbance. The hands of adult silverbacks can span enormous widths. Their grip strength is powerful enough to bend thick vegetation with ease. Yet those same hands may carefully cradle a sleeping infant with extraordinary gentleness. Some gorillas enjoy resting in sunlight when patches of warmth appear through forest openings. Others remain beneath shade where temperatures stay cooler and more stable throughout the day. Gorillas rarely need to drink large amounts of standing water because much of their hydration comes from the plants they consume. Leaves, stems, and fruit contain significant moisture, especially in humid rainforest environments. During rainstorms, gorillas sometimes continue feeding calmly while water falls steadily across the forest canopy. Large leaves help shield parts of their bodies from heavy rain. Infants may tuck closely against their mothers for warmth and protection. The scent of a rainforest changes after rainfall. Wet soil releases earthy smells. Crushed leaves become stronger and sweeter. Moss and bark hold moisture deep into the evening. Gorillas move through these changing scents every day of their lives. Some mountain gorillas live at elevations above 8,000 feet. Air temperatures in these regions can become surprisingly cool, especially during cloudy mornings and rainy seasons. Despite their size, gorillas are capable climbers, particularly when young. Juveniles often climb trees more frequently than large adults. Smaller body size makes movement among branches easier and safer. Older silverbacks tend to spend more time on the ground where their weight is supported comfortably. Even there, they remain highly aware of sounds and movement around them. A gorilla's chest is broad and heavily muscled. Their bodies are designed for pulling, climbing, carrying, and steady movement through dense vegetation. Much of their strength comes from the shoulders and upper back. The skull of a silverback contains large attachment areas for jaw muscles. These strong muscles help grind tough plant material over long periods of feeding. Even chewing follows a slow, repetitive rhythm. At night, forests inhabited by gorillas become quieter in certain ways and louder in others. Day birds settle into silence while insects and frogs create soft layered sounds beneath darkness. Gorillas remain inside their nests resting until morning light slowly returns. The sleeping nests of gorillas are rarely reused for long periods. Most gorillas prefer building fresh nests each evening using nearby vegetation. This daily habit creates a quiet rhythm that repeats throughout their lives. A suitable resting place is selected carefully, often in areas that feel secure and sheltered from wind or heavy rain. Some nests are woven from bent branches that create flexible circular walls around the body. Others are simple depressions shaped into soft ground vegetation. Infants sleep beside their mothers, protected by warmth and steady breathing through the night. The forests where gorillas live contain many shades of green layered across different heights. Tall canopy trees capture much of the sunlight. Beneath them grow vines, shrubs, mosses, and broadleaf plants adapted to dim conditions below. Gorillas move slowly through these layered environments while feeding. A gorilla's sense of hearing is sensitive to small sounds within dense forests. Cracking branches, distant vocalizations, falling fruit, and moving animals all become part of the quiet information carried through the environment. Silverbacks often pause and listen before continuing forward. Many gorilla groups maintain overlapping home ranges without constant conflict. They may avoid one another naturally through sound, scent, and movement patterns. When groups encounter each other unexpectedly, vocal displays and posture often allow separation without serious aggression. Chest beating is one of the best-known gorilla behaviors. Despite its dramatic appearance, chest beating often serves as communication rather than direct violence. A silverback cups his hands and strikes his chest rapidly, creating deep resonant sounds that travel through vegetation. The sound can carry over long distances in forests where visibility is limited. Researchers believe chest beats may communicate size, strength, location, and emotional state. Different silverbacks produce slightly different rhythms and tones depending on body size and chest structure. Even during displays, gorillas often avoid physical harm whenever possible. Large displays can prevent dangerous fights by allowing animals to assess one another without direct combat. The muscles of gorillas are dense and powerful, especially around the arms and shoulders. Their strength supports climbing, carrying, feeding, and movement through difficult terrain. Yet much of gorilla life remains surprisingly quiet and restful despite this immense physical power. Scientists estimate that gorillas spend a substantial portion of their waking hours feeding. Because leaves and stems contain relatively low calorie density, feeding must continue steadily across the day. This creates long periods of repetitive chewing and slow movement through vegetation. The teeth of gorillas are adapted for grinding plant material. Their molars contain broad surfaces capable of crushing fibrous leaves and stems efficiently. Over years of use, teeth gradually wear down from constant processing of vegetation. Some gorillas develop favorite resting locations inside their home range. Certain clearings, shaded hillsides, or patches of thick vegetation may be visited repeatedly over time because they provide comfort, safety, or reliable food nearby. Forest clearings known as byres are important gathering places for some western lowland gorillas. These open spaces sometimes contain mineral-rich soils and aquatic plants. Gorillas may travel considerable distances to visit them. In these clearings, gorillas sometimes encounter forest elephants, birds, and other wildlife sharing the same resources. Different species move around one another with cautious awareness and long-established patterns. The breathing of resting gorillas is slow and steady. During calm periods, a silverback may sit nearly motionless except for the gradual rise and fall of the chest. Nearby juveniles often settle quietly once adults begin resting. Sunlight entering rainforest gaps creates moving patches of warmth across the forest floor. As leaves shift overhead, the shapes of light slowly drift across fir, branches, and moss-covered ground. Gorillas often rest within these shifting patterns during quiet afternoons. A gorilla's dark fur sometimes carries tiny bits of leaves or seeds collected while moving through thick vegetation. Grooming helps remove debris and maintain social bonds at the same time. Grooming sessions may continue for long periods without urgency. One gorilla gently parts the fur of another using careful fingers. The process appears soothing and repetitive, almost meditative in pace. Young gorillas learn social boundaries gradually through play and observation. They test strength gently, climb over older animals, and imitate adult behaviors in simplified ways. Adults usually tolerate juvenile curiosity with remarkable patience. When startled, gorillas can move very quickly despite their size. Yet these bursts of speed are usually brief. Most daily movement remains measured and energy efficient. Energy conservation is important for large herbivores. Gorillas balance feeding with long periods of rest to process food effectively. Their calm pace reflects this biological balance between intake and energy use. The forests of Central Africa experience changing rainfall patterns throughout the year. During wetter seasons, vegetation grows densely and streams swell with fresh water. During drier periods, certain foods become less abundant and gorillas adjust their feeding patterns accordingly. Morning mist in mountain gorilla habitats can cling to vegetation for hours. Water droplets collect on fur and leaves while distant trees fade into pale gray layers. In these conditions, sound often becomes more noticeable than sight. Gorillas use a variety of vocalizations beyond chest beating. Soft grunts help maintain contact during feeding. Short barks may signal alarm. Hums sometimes occur during comfortable feeding sessions, especially when favored foods are abundant. These feeding hums are low and relaxed, blending softly with forest sounds. Different individuals may produce slightly different vocal tones recognizable to nearby group members. A gorilla's face contains expressive muscles capable of subtle communication. Relaxed faces appear calm and neutral. Tension around the mouth or eyes may signal discomfort or alertness. Much communication happens quietly through posture and expression rather than loud vocal sounds. Infant gorillas often spend their earliest months clinging tightly to their mothers' chests. Later, they begin riding on their mothers' backs as they grow stronger and more coordinated. The bond between mother and infant remains extremely strong for many years. Young gorillas stay close to their mothers while learning feeding habits, social behavior, and movement patterns within the forest. Some juvenile gorillas become highly playful during certain hours of the day. They tumble through vegetation, chase one another in circles, or practice climbing small trees. These activities help develop coordination and social understanding in low-risk situations. Even playful wrestling among young gorillas is usually carefully controlled. Bites and strikes are moderated naturally as juveniles learn limits through repeated interaction. Silverback sometimes intervene calmly when younger gorillas become too rough or disruptive. Often a simple movement or posture change is enough to restore quiet order within the group. The hands of gorillas contain fingernails instead of claws. This trait is shared with other primates and allows delicate manipulation of food and objects. Gorillas can peel stems, sort leaves, and handle small items with considerable precision. Some gorillas use branches for support while crossing wet or uneven ground. Though tool use is less extensive than in some chimpanzee populations, gorillas still show flexible problem-solving abilities in natural environments. Researchers observing wild gorillas often describe the forests as deeply peaceful during calm feeding periods. Long stretches of time may pass with only the sound of chewing leaves, distant insects, and occasional low vocalizations drifting through vegetation. Rainfall in gorilla habitats supports extraordinary biodiversity. Thousands of plant species, insects, fungi, birds, and mammals share these ecosystems. Gorillas move slowly through this living complexity as both consumers and seed dispersers. The digestive systems of gorillas support large communities of microorganisms that help break down cellulose from plant fibers. Without these internal microbes, many gorilla foods would provide little usable nutrition. Adult male gorillas can weigh several hundred pounds, yet their diets remain almost entirely plant-based. Protein comes largely from leaves and stems rather than animal prey. Because gorillas consume large amounts of fibrous food, their stomach regions appear broad and rounded. This body shape reflects the digestive demands of processing vegetation continuously. The eyes of gorillas are usually deep brown, sometimes nearly black in dim forest light. Heavy brow ridges shade the eyes and contribute to their distinctive facial appearance. Gorilla infants sometimes sleep while being carried during daytime movement. Their small hands remain wrapped securely in fur even while resting deeply against the steady movement of the mother's body. Older juveniles gradually spend more time exploring independently, though they usually remain within sight of trusted adults. A silverback leading a stable group may remain with the same family for many years. His role includes protection, decision-making, conflict management, and maintaining group cohesion through calm leadership. When groups travel, the silverback often monitors the surroundings carefully. He may pause frequently to listen or observe before continuing movement through dense vegetation. Travel routes through forests are rarely straight lines. Gorillas navigate around steep terrain, thick vegetation, feeding opportunities, and nesting areas using memory developed over years within familiar home ranges. Some plants eaten by gorillas contain bitter compounds that other animals avoid. Gorillas appear able to tolerate a wide range of vegetation through specialized digestion and learned feeding behavior. Forest smells vary greatly throughout the day. Warm afternoon air may carry the scent of ripe fruit or crushed vegetation. Cooler evening temperatures often deepen the smell of damp soil and moss. The fur of mountain gorillas sometimes appears almost blue-gray in dim foggy light. Water droplets gather on the outer hairs while deeper layers remain dry and warm near the skin. Parasites and insects are natural parts of rainforest life. Grooming helps reduce irritation while also strengthening relationships between individuals. The pace of gorilla development is relatively slow compared to many mammals. Infants remain dependent for extended periods, juveniles mature gradually, and social learning continues across many years. This slower development contributes to strong social bonds and long-term group stability. Young gorillas have time to observe, imitate, and integrate into complex family structures carefully. The lifespan of wild gorillas varies, but many may live into their 30s or beyond under stable conditions. Some individuals in protected environments live even longer. Conservation efforts have helped certain gorilla populations recover slowly after periods of severe decline. Protected habitats, veterinary support, anti-poaching programs, and community conservation initiatives all contribute to these efforts. Mountain gorillas in particular have shown encouraging population increases in some regions due to sustained conservation work over decades. Even so, gorillas remain vulnerable to habitat loss, disease, and human pressures. Researchers studying gorillas sometimes spend entire days moving quietly through forests with minimal conversation. Long observation periods help reveal subtle behaviors that might otherwise go unnoticed. A resting gorilla group can appear almost like part of the forest itself. Dark forms settle among leaves and branches while sunlight shifts slowly overhead. Only occasional movement reveals the quiet presence of enormous animals beneath the trees. The fingertips of gorillas contain sensitive nerve endings that help detect texture and pressure. This sensitivity supports careful grooming and food handling. Gorillas sometimes pause feeding simply to sit silently for extended periods. These calm intervals are common and natural parts of daily life. As evening approaches, feeding gradually slows. Group members begin selecting nesting areas nearby. Branches bend softly. Leaves fold inward. One by one, the gorillas prepare quiet sleeping places surrounded by deep forest sounds. In many gorilla habitats, evening arrives gently beneath layers of forest canopy. Light fades slowly rather than disappearing all at once. The highest branches still hold traces of pale sunlight while the forest floor settles into cool shadow. Gorillas continue moving calmly during these transitions between day and night. A silverback may choose a nesting area that offers shelter from wind or heavy rain. Nearby females prepare their own nests within close distance, while juveniles sometimes practice building smaller versions with uneven branches and loose leaves. Infants remain close beside their mothers through the entire process. The construction of a gorilla nest is efficient and quiet. Thick stems are bent inward using powerful arms. Flexible branches form a shallow bowl. Leaves create soft insulation beneath the body. Within only a few minutes, a comfortable sleeping place takes shape from living vegetation. Some nests are built beneath large leaves that collect rainwater and direct it away from the sleeping gorilla below. In wetter forests, this natural shelter becomes especially useful during nighttime storms. Rain falling across rainforest canopies creates layers of soft sound. Water strikes high leaves first, then lower branches, then moss, vines, roots, and soil. Gorillas resting in nests experience these overlapping rhythms throughout the night. Young gorillas often sleep deeply after long periods of play and feeding. Their breathing slows steadily while adults remain alert to unfamiliar sounds nearby. Even resting groups maintain quiet awareness of their surroundings. The sense of smell plays an important role in gorilla life. Forest air carries information about food sources, rainfall, nearby animals, and familiar group members. Gorillas may pause briefly to smell vegetation before feeding. Some plants consumed by gorillas change seasonally in nutritional value. Fresh shoots may become available during rainy periods, while bark or roots become more important at other times of the year. Gorillas adapt naturally to these changes through flexible feeding behavior. Lowland gorillas often travel farther each day than mountain gorillas because fruit sources may be widely scattered throughout rainforest habitats. Fruit trees can appear unpredictably, requiring long quiet movement through dense vegetation. When fruit is abundant, gorillas sometimes spend hours feeding within a single area. Soft fruit provides concentrated energy compared to leaves and stems. The sounds of feeding change slightly as fruit skins tear and seeds crunch gently between large teeth. Despite their large canine teeth, gorillas rarely use them aggressively within stable family groups. These teeth function partly as display structures, especially among adult males. The skulls of mature silverbacks contain a pronounced crest along the top where strong jaw muscles attach. This structure supports the force required for processing tough plant material continuously throughout life. Gorillas have relatively small ears hidden partly beneath fur and the shape of the head. Their hearing remains highly effective in detecting movement and sound through thick forests where visibility is limited. Fog drifting through mountain forests often condenses into tiny droplets on gorilla fur. In early morning light, these droplets sometimes shimmer briefly before evaporating into warmer air. The fingers of gorillas are long and slightly curved, helping with climbing and grasping vegetation. Their thumbs provide additional control when manipulating food or grooming companions. During periods of rest, gorillas sometimes lean against tree trunks or sit with arms folded loosely across their bodies. Others stretch out partially on their sides within thick vegetation while remaining close to the group. A calm gorilla group may spread quietly across a feeding area, each individual moving slowly within sight or hearing distance of the others. Low vocalizations maintain gentle contact without disturbing the peaceful atmosphere. Infants occasionally vocalize softly while sleeping, producing quiet sounds that resemble murmurs more than calls. Mothers respond with subtle shifts in posture or touch rather than dramatic movements. Researchers studying gorillas often become skilled at recognizing individuals from body shape, facial structure, scars, fur patterns, and behavior. Some gorillas display recognizable habits repeated consistently over many years. One individual may prefer resting in elevated nests whenever possible. Another may feed more slowly than others or spend extra time grooming juveniles. These subtle differences form part of the social personality within each group. The pace of gorilla life remains closely connected to daylight. Most activity occurs during morning and afternoon hours, while nights are devoted almost entirely to rest. Unlike many predators, gorillas do not spend energy chasing prey. Their herbivorous lifestyle allows much of daily life to remain slow, repetitive, and energy efficient. The forests inhabited by gorillas often contain ancient volcanic soils rich in nutrients. These soils support dense plant growth that provides year-round food sources in many regions. Mountain gorillas live primarily in high-altitude forests spanning parts of Central Africa. These habitats include bamboo zones, cloud forests, and steep volcanic slopes covered with dense vegetation. Bamboo shoots become important seasonal foods for some gorilla populations. During certain periods, gorillas may travel specifically to areas where fresh bamboo growth is available. The chewing motion of gorillas is steady and methodical. Large molars crush stems and leaves repeatedly before swallowing. Feeding sounds remain soft and rhythmic during quiet forest afternoons. Juvenile gorillas often imitate adult feeding behavior imperfectly at first. They experiment with stems, leaves, and bark while observing experienced adults nearby. Learning what to eat safely in a rainforest filled with thousands of plant species requires time and observation. Young gorillas gradually acquire this knowledge through years spent beside older group members. The eyes of infant gorillas appear especially large relative to their small faces. Their expressions often seem curious and attentive while observing movement around them. A mother gorilla may adjust her pace while traveling so young offspring can keep up comfortably. Groups naturally move at speeds that support the safety of infants and juveniles. When crossing steep terrain, gorillas use both strength and balance carefully. Their bodies remain stable even on wet slopes or uneven ground covered with roots and stones. The dense muscles of gorillas generate significant body heat. Combined with thick fur, this helps mountain gorillas remain comfortable in cool high-elevation climates. At lower elevations, western lowland gorillas inhabit warmer forests where humidity remains high through much of the year. In these environments, shade becomes important during hotter periods of the day. Forest insects create continuous background sounds in gorilla habitats. Crickets, cicadas, frogs, and distant birds combine into layered natural rhythms that continue day and night. Some gorillas pause frequently during travel simply to rest briefly and observe their surroundings. These pauses create an overall pace that feels calm and deliberate rather than hurried. Adult females maintain strong relationships with their offspring and often interact gently with other juveniles in the group as well. Social bonds form gradually through years of close daily contact. Young gorillas sometimes somersault through vegetation or swing briefly from branches while playing. Their movements are lighter and faster than those of heavy adults. As gorillas age, their activity patterns often become more measured. Mature silverbacks especially may spend long stretches seated quietly while monitoring the group. Silver hair across the back of an adult male develops gradually over time and may extend across the hips and upper thighs as maturity increases. The facial features of silverbacks become broader and more pronounced with age. Large nostrils, heavy brow ridges, and powerful jaws contribute to their distinctive appearance. Despite their size, gorillas are capable of surprisingly gentle physical contact. Adults may touch infants softly with fingertips or rest an arm carefully across another gorilla during quiet moments. Scientists continue studying gorilla communication to better understand vocal patterns, gestures, posture, and social signals. Much communication occurs through combinations of subtle behaviors rather than single dramatic actions. A relaxed gorilla may produce low, contented sounds while feeding on favored plants. These soft vocalizations help maintain peaceful group cohesion during shared activity. In dense forests, visibility may extend only short distances through vegetation. Sound therefore becomes especially important for maintaining contact between group members spread across feeding areas. Heavy rainfall sometimes temporarily changes travel routes as streams rise and muddy ground becomes difficult to cross. Gorillas adapt naturally by selecting alternative paths through familiar territory. Tree roots in rainforest habitats often spread wide across the forest floor due to shallow nutrient layers near the surface. Gorillas step carefully among these tangled root systems while traveling. The skin on a gorilla's palms and soles is thick and durable from constant contact with vegetation, branches, and uneven terrain. Even so, these surfaces remain sensitive enough for careful movement and object handling. During cooler mornings, gorillas may sit in early sunlight to warm themselves before beginning longer feeding periods. Mist slowly lifts from vegetation as temperatures rise through the day. A silverback's chest beat produces vibrations that may travel through the body as much as through the surrounding air. Nearby juveniles often observe these displays closely while remaining calm. The breathing patterns of sleeping gorillas are deep and regular. Entire groups may rest quietly together while distant forest sounds continue beyond the nests. Nighttime temperatures in mountain habitats can become surprisingly cold. Thick fur, sheltered nests, and close social spacing help conserve warmth until morning. Gorillas rarely stray far from familiar home ranges unless environmental conditions force unusual movement. Knowledge of feeding areas, nesting sites, and safe travel routes accumulates over many years. Researchers sometimes discover old nesting areas containing flattened vegetation arranged in circles across forest clearings. These temporary sleeping places slowly return to the surrounding landscape as plants regrow. The lives of gorillas follow cycles repeated across countless generations. Feeding, resting, grooming, traveling, nesting, and caring for young continue in quiet patterns shaped by forests, weather, seasons, and social bonds. Even in complete stillness, a resting gorilla group remains deeply connected through small sounds, movements, scents, and shared awareness of the surrounding forest. The forests that support gorilla life are among the most biologically rich environments on Earth. Layers of plants grow at different heights, creating a living structure that filters sunlight into soft green tones. Gorillas move through these forests slowly, often following paths used repeatedly across many years. Some of these pathways are narrow openings through dense vegetation created simply through repeated travel. Branches bend aside gradually over time. Leaves become flattened beneath heavy footsteps. Quiet trails emerge without tools or construction, shaped only by patient movement. A gorilla's foot is broad and flexible, with a large opposable toe that helps maintain balance while climbing or moving across uneven terrain. The feet grip branches and slopes with surprising control despite the animal's size. Infant gorillas spend long periods observing older group members closely. Learning occurs continuously through imitation and proximity. Young gorillas watch how adults select plants, respond to sounds, build nests, and interact socially. The pace of learning is gradual. There is no urgency in the way knowledge passes through gorilla groups. Behaviors develop through repeated daily experience across many seasons. When feeding on tough stems, gorillas often strip away the outer layer before chewing the softer interior. This process is performed with efficient hand movements and strong teeth developed for processing fibrous vegetation. Some plants consumed by gorillas contain natural chemicals that may help reduce parasites or digestive discomfort. Researchers continue studying these feeding behaviors to understand whether gorillas intentionally select certain plants for medicinal effects. Large silverbacks often appear calm even when alert. They may sit upright with relaxed posture while carefully observing movement or listening to distant sounds. Their stillness can make them seem almost like part of the forest itself. The eyes of gorillas are positioned forward, providing depth perception useful for climbing and movement through dense environments. This forward-facing vision is common among primates. During periods of light rain, gorillas sometimes continue feeding almost without interruption. Water collects on fur and leaves while the forest air becomes cooler and heavier with moisture. Rainforest smells intensify during rainfall. Damp bark, crushed leaves, wet soil, and flowering plants create layers of scent carried through humid air. Gorillas experience these changing conditions every day throughout their lives. A juvenile gorilla may become absorbed in simple exploration for long stretches of time. Turning over leaves, pulling apart stems, or watching insects move through moss can hold quiet attention without urgency. The muscles of gorillas are supported by dense skeletal structures adapted for powerful movement. Their arms are longer relative to body size than human arms, helping with climbing and knuckle walking. Knuckle walking distributes body weight across strong joints while protecting long sensitive fingers. Gorillas move with a rolling, stable rhythm that conserves energy across long distances. The shoulders of gorillas allow a wide range of motion useful for climbing, reaching, and manipulating branches. Their upper body flexibility supports movement through complex forest environments. Gorillas do not rush through meals. Feeding often continues at a steady pace for hours. Leaves are selected, folded, chewed, and swallowed in repetitive calm patterns that rarely change suddenly. Some western lowland gorillas travel through swampy forests where water covers parts of the ground seasonally. They navigate carefully around muddy areas and flooded vegetation. Forest clearings visited by gorillas sometimes contain mineral deposits in exposed soil. Gorillas may consume small amounts of these minerals along with aquatic vegetation found nearby. Birds occasionally follow gorilla groups at a distance, taking advantage of insects disturbed by movement through vegetation. These quiet interactions form part of the broader forest ecosystem. The fur of gorillas varies slightly between individuals. Some appear darker or lighter depending on age, moisture, sunlight, and habitat conditions. Older silverbacks develop especially noticeable color contrast across their backs. A resting silverback sometimes folds his arms loosely or rests one hand against the ground while sitting quietly. Nearby juveniles may climb over fallen logs or practice playful movements without causing concern. Young gorillas learn balance and coordination gradually through climbing and play. Small mistakes are common and usually harmless. Flexible branches and dense vegetation often cushion falls. The forests inhabited by gorillas can become very quiet during certain midday hours. Insects slow temporarily in heavy heat while many animals rest in shaded areas. Gorillas also reduce activity during these warmer periods. Large leaves in rainforest habitats capture falling rainwater and release it slowly over time. Water drips steadily from branch to branch long after storms end. Gorillas resting beneath dense canopy may remain relatively dry even during prolonged rainfall. The nostrils of gorillas are wide and highly individual in shape. Researchers use nose patterns as a reliable way to identify specific animals during long-term studies. Infant gorillas often reach for nearby fur while sleeping, maintaining physical contact with trusted adults. Touch remains an important part of gorilla social life from birth onward. Social grooming helps strengthen bonds within the group. Gentle, repetitive grooming movements may continue silently for long periods, especially during calm afternoon rest times. The skin beneath gorilla fur is generally dark gray or black. Sparse fur around the face, chest, hands, and feet reveals more of this skin coloration. Mountain gorillas sometimes feed heavily on thistles, wild celery, nettles, and bamboo shoots depending on seasonal availability. Their digestive systems process large quantities of rough plant material efficiently. Some gorillas display remarkable patience while waiting for younger individuals during travel. Group movement often slows naturally to maintain cohesion and protect vulnerable members. Adult females usually remain highly attentive to infant safety, especially near steep terrain or unfamiliar disturbances. Protective behavior is calm and controlled rather than frantic. Gorilla vocalizations range from quiet grunts to loud warning calls. Most daily sounds, however, are low and subtle, blending into the surrounding environment rather than dominating it. When a silverback senses potential danger, he may position himself between the group and the disturbance. Physical size and confident posture alone often discourage threats without direct conflict. Gorillas spend much of their lives within areas of thick vegetation where visibility remains limited. As a result, sound, smell, and memory become especially important for navigation and communication. Researchers observing gorillas in misty mountain habitats sometimes hear feeding sounds before seeing the animals themselves. The slow tearing of leaves and snapping of stems drifts softly through fog-covered vegetation. A gorilla's jaw muscles are among the strongest relative to body size in the primate world. These muscles support continuous chewing of dense plant material throughout the day. Despite their strength, gorillas conserve energy carefully. Their calm movement patterns reduce unnecessary exertion while supporting long-term survival on plant-based diets. Juveniles often remain more active than adults, moving frequently between play, exploration, and short feeding periods. Adults generally maintain steadier rhythms focused on feeding and resting. The life of a gorilla group changes gradually over time. Infants grow into juveniles, juveniles mature into adults, and older silverbacks eventually weaken with age. Yet daily patterns remain remarkably consistent across generations. The forests themselves also change slowly. Trees fall during storms, new plants emerge in openings, streams shift course, and old paths disappear beneath fresh growth. Gorillas adapt continuously to these subtle environmental changes. At dawn, the first sounds in gorilla habitats often come from birds and insects awakening before sunlight fully reaches the forest floor. Gorillas begin stirring slowly inside their nests as temperatures rise. Morning feeding usually begins quietly. Group members move outward from sleeping areas while maintaining loose contact through soft vocalizations and occasional visual checks. Some gorillas prefer feeding on certain plant species more than others. Individual preferences may develop through familiarity, availability, or nutritional value. The hands of gorillas are capable of delicate movements despite their immense strength. A gorilla can carefully remove a single leaf from a stem or gently touch the face of an infant with precise control. When juveniles become tired after play, they often settle beside adults and gradually grow quiet. Rest spreads naturally through the group in waves of stillness. The eyes of resting gorillas may remain partially open even during calm inactivity. Awareness of the surrounding environment continues subtly even while relaxing. Heavy fog in mountain forests softens sound and reduces visibility across the landscape. Trees appear and disappear slowly within drifting gray air while gorillas continue their routines almost unchanged. The scent of crushed vegetation often lingers where gorillas have recently fed. Broken stems and stripped leaves mark temporary feeding areas before the forest gradually regrows. Because gorillas spread seeds across wide areas, they contribute to forest regeneration simply through daily movement and digestion. Some plants may rely heavily on large mammals for successful seed dispersal. The pace of rainforest growth is steady and continuous. New leaves emerge, vines extend, moss spreads, and fallen branches slowly decompose back into soil. Gorillas live within this constant quiet cycle of renewal. A sleeping gorilla group at night forms part of the larger rhythm of the forest. Insects continue calling. Rain falls softly on leaves. Mist gathers between trees. Beneath layers of dark canopy, enormous animals rest peacefully inside nests woven from branches and leaves. In the early hours before sunrise, gorilla nests remain quiet beneath cool forest air. Moisture settles on leaves and branches while distant insects continue their steady nighttime sounds. The group rests close together, surrounded by layers of vegetation that soften wind and absorb noise. As dawn slowly approaches, small movements begin inside the nests. A juvenile shifts position beneath folded leaves. An infant presses closer against its mother. A silverback lifts his head briefly, listening to the surrounding forest before settling again into stillness. The transition from sleep to activity is gradual. Gorillas do not begin their day with sudden bursts of movement. Instead, they wake slowly, stretching heavy limbs and sitting quietly before the first feeding period begins. Morning light in rainforest habitats often arrives as narrow beams filtering through many layers of leaves. The forest floor may remain dim for hours even after sunrise. Mist drifts between trunks while water droplets continue falling from branches long after rain has ended. A gorilla's fur traps warmth effectively during cold mornings, especially in high-altitude mountain forests. Thick hair around the shoulders and back protects against damp air and cool temperatures common near cloud forests and volcanic slopes. Some mountain gorilla groups live near extinct volcanoes covered in dense vegetation. The soil in these areas supports rich plant growth, providing year-round feeding opportunities. The feeding habits of gorillas vary depending on habitat, season, and food availability. Mountain gorillas consume large amounts of leaves, stems, and shoots, while western lowland gorillas often include more fruit in their diet when available. Fruit-rich feeding periods may lead groups to travel farther through the forest. Ripe fruit trees become temporary gathering points where gorillas spend long quiet hours feeding among branches and fallen fruit. When feeding in trees, younger gorillas climb more confidently than large adults. Their lighter weight allows flexible branches to support them more easily. Adult silverbacks usually remain lower or feed from the ground beneath fruiting trees. The sounds of feeding remain soft and repetitive. Leaves tear gently. Stems crack quietly. Fruit skins split beneath strong jaws. These sounds blend naturally into the background rhythms of the forest. A gorilla's lips are highly flexible and help manipulate food precisely. They can strip leaves from stems using coordinated movements between lips, teeth, and fingers. Researchers have observed gorillas carefully selecting specific parts of plants while ignoring others. Some stems are peeled. Certain leaves are discarded. Others are eaten entirely. Feeding decisions appear thoughtful and practiced rather than random. The enormous size of silverbacks can make them appear intimidating from a distance, yet much of their daily life involves calm inactivity. Resting, feeding, grooming, and quiet observation occupy most hours. A relaxed silverback may close his eyes partially while seated among vegetation. Nearby juveniles continue moving around him with little concern. His presence alone provides stability within the group. The bond between mothers and infants shapes much of gorilla social structure. Infants depend completely on their mothers during early life for warmth, transport, feeding guidance, and protection. Young gorillas nurse for several years while gradually increasing solid food intake. During this time, they continue learning social behavior through close daily contact with the group. An infant gorilla's grip is extremely strong relative to body size. Even very young infants cling securely to fur while mothers travel through uneven terrain. Play among juveniles often includes chasing, climbing, rolling, and mock wrestling. These activities help develop balance, coordination, and social understanding in low-risk environments. Adults usually tolerate juvenile play patiently unless it becomes too disruptive near resting areas or infants. A simple movement or low vocal sound from an adult is often enough to calm overexcited juveniles. The breathing of gorillas remains remarkably steady during rest. Their slow respiratory rhythm reflects the calm pace of much of their daily life. Some gorilla groups encounter streams or shallow rivers during travel. Gorillas generally avoid deep water, but they can cross shallow areas carefully when necessary. Rainforest vegetation grows densely due to abundant rainfall, warm temperatures, and nutrient cycling through constant decomposition. Fallen leaves break down rapidly in moist conditions, enriching the soil that supports new growth. Gorillas contribute to this cycle through feeding and seed dispersal. Seeds carried through the digestive system may later germinate far from the original plant, helping maintain forest diversity. A gorilla's digestive tract is specially adapted for processing fibrous vegetation. Long intestines and microbial fermentation help extract nutrients from leaves and stems that many animals could not digest efficiently. The rounded abdomen common in gorillas reflects this extensive digestive system working continuously throughout the day. Lowland rainforests inhabited by western gorillas often contain towering trees reaching high above the forest floor. Thick vines connect branches while layers of understory plants fill the spaces below. Moving through such dense environments requires familiarity and memory. Gorilla groups learn routes connecting feeding sites, resting areas, and nesting locations over many years. The smell of ripe fruit can travel through warm, humid air across considerable distances. Gorillas may detect these scents and adjust travel direction accordingly. Some researchers describe the atmosphere around resting gorilla groups as deeply peaceful. Even large animals seem to merge quietly into the landscape during calm periods. Gorilla fur sometimes reflects subtle color changes depending on light conditions. In bright sunlight, brown tones may appear within dark fur. In fog or shade, the same fur may look nearly black or silver gray. The hands of gorillas are powerful enough to bend thick branches easily. Yet these same hands can groom carefully around the eyes or face of another gorilla with great precision. Grooming remains one of the most important peaceful social activities within gorilla groups. It reduces tension, strengthens relationships, and maintains hygiene through repetitive gentle touch. Juveniles often invite play by approaching sideways, bouncing lightly, or making playful movements toward companions. These invitations are usually understood clearly within the group. A silverback rarely needs constant aggression to maintain leadership. Stability often comes from calm confidence, experience, and the trust of the group rather than frequent fighting. When unfamiliar sounds occur nearby, gorillas often pause completely still to listen. Their attention focuses quietly on the disturbance before deciding whether movement or caution is necessary. Many animals share gorilla habitats, including monkeys, birds, forest antelope, insects, reptiles, and elephants. Most encounters remain peaceful as species move through overlapping territories. The forests themselves contain constant subtle movement. Leaves shift in changing air currents. Insects travel across bark. Small streams alter paths after rainfall. Gorillas exist within this continuous natural motion without disturbing it dramatically. Some gorillas appear especially fond of resting in thick patches of vegetation where the ground remains soft and cool. Others choose elevated nesting sites among sturdy branches whenever possible. Night nests are usually abandoned after a single use, gradually flattening back into the forest floor over time. Rain and new plant growth slowly erase most signs of their construction. Researchers studying gorillas must remain aware of disease transmission risks because gorillas share many biological similarities with humans. Strict health precautions help protect vulnerable populations from human illnesses. Conservation programs often involve local communities working alongside scientists, trackers, veterinarians, and park staff to support gorilla protection and habitat preservation. Mountain gorilla populations remain limited to relatively small geographic regions. Their survival depends heavily on continued habitat protection and careful management. Despite these challenges, gorillas continue living according to ancient rhythms shaped long before modern human activity reached their forests. The chewing sounds of feeding gorillas can continue steadily for hours with little interruption. Rhythmic jaw movement becomes part of the surrounding soundscape, blending with insects, distant birds, and rustling vegetation. Infants gradually begin experimenting with solid food while still nursing. They imitate adults by chewing leaves or handling stems, though much learning still lies ahead. A gorilla's eyes often appear thoughtful and calm during quiet observation. Long periods may pass with little visible movement beyond slow breathing and occasional blinking. Some silverbacks develop scars over time from conflicts, accidents, or encounters with rough vegetation. These marks become part of their recognizable appearance within long-term studies. The forests inhabited by gorillas contain countless textures beneath the hands and feet. Wet moss, rough bark, soft leaves, tangled vines, and cool soil all form part of daily experience. Travel through steep mountain terrain requires steady balance and powerful muscles. Gorillas move carefully uphill and downhill using both arms and legs in coordinated patterns. At higher elevations, clouds sometimes move directly through the forest itself. Trees fade into white mist while moisture gathers silently across every surface. A resting group surrounded by fog can seem almost motionless against the pale forest background. Only the quiet sound of feeding or breathing reveals life within the mist. As evening slowly returns, feeding gradually decreases once more. Gorillas begin selecting places to build fresh nests for the coming night. Branches bend softly. Leaves fold inward. The forest darkens beneath layers of canopy while another calm cycle of rest approaches. Night settles gently across the forest once again. The last movement of leaves becomes softer as the air cools beneath the canopy. Gorillas rest quietly inside their woven nests while distant rain drifts across the trees in slow, steady rhythms. A silverback remains still beneath layers of dark fur touched faintly by silver along his back. Nearby juveniles sleep curled into soft vegetation after long calm hours of feeding and play. Infants breathe slowly beside their mothers, surrounded by warmth and familiar scent. Mist gathers again between branches and moss-covered trunks. Water drips quietly from leaves high above the forest floor. Insects continue their endless nighttime song somewhere beyond the sleeping group. The forest does not truly become silent. It simply grows softer. Breathing rises and falls steadily in the darkness. Large hands rest peacefully against folded leaves. Thick branches hold the shape of fresh nests through the cool hours before dawn. Far away, hidden beyond fog and trees, other gorilla groups settle into the same quiet rhythm. Feeding has ended for the night. Movement slows completely. The forest carries them gently into rest beneath clouds, rain, and deep green shadows that have existed for countless generations. And through the long calm night, nothing needs to happen at all. Sleep well. Rest softly. Drift into sleep. Close your eyes slowly. Let the night grow quiet. Settle into calm. Feel the room become still. The day can fade away now. Breathe slowly and gently. Sink into deep rest. Let your thoughts become lighter. Everything can wait until morning. The night is peaceful and slow. Your mind can grow quiet now. Rest beneath the soft darkness. The world feels calm tonight. Sleep comes gently and naturally. The night air feels soft and still. Heavy eyes and quiet thoughts. The forest grows silent around you. Soft rain and distant wind. Nothing more needs your attention tonight. Let the quiet carry you. The night stretches calmly ahead. Warm blankets and slower breathing. Peaceful thoughts drifting softly. The world becomes quieter with every breath. Settle deeper into rest. Slow breathing in the dark. Gentle silence filling the room. The night moves slowly and softly. resting safely in quiet darkness. Calm thoughts fading into sleep. Only stillness now. Soft shadows and peaceful air. The evening becomes heavier and calmer. Sleep arrives little by little. Everything grows slower now. Quiet comfort in the darkness. A peaceful ending to the day. The mind becoming still and light. Drifting deeper into gentle sleep.